Hell yeah, and welcome to episode 56.
56.
Of the Temple Bard podcast. The Great Reset. Philip.
Jim, the Great Reset.
Yeah.
George Orwell, 1984.
Yeah.
Is it all coming true?
If you think it's coming true, it is coming true, yeah. That's the whole point of it, I'd say. I read 1984 a while back. Thought it was quite a fun read. Good, interesting thing. A lot of people think that, yeah. A lot of people think the Great Reset is... I'll tell you what I did. I asked the ChatGPT to give us both the conspiracy and the original. So the official intention is the Great Reset was an initiative launched by the World Economic Forum, the WEF.
Klaus Schwab.
Yeah. In response to
Klaus Schwab.
Gesundheit. In response to the COVID pandemic, and it stated that they want to rebuild capitalism in a more sustainable way. So it's not all about profit, but it's also about environmental friendliness and, reducing inequality and all. This is what I say.
By 2030, isn't it?
By 2030. Key themes include moving from shareholder capitalism to stakeholder capitalism, which means, when they talk about you're not owning everything, your things are shared like to be.
You will own nothing and be happy.
Yeah, all that jazz. Harnessing innovations from the fourth industrial revolution. So it's basically taking care of or using all the new technology to build a better, more sustainable version of capitalism. That's the official version. And then there's the conspiracies, which are like...
these are the best.
The Great Reset.
These are the good ones.
Is vague and attract a lot of skepticism. So let's hear about the conspiracies I had earlier. Conspiracy theories and distortions. Because the initiative is broad and involves powerful players, it has become the basis for many conspiracy narratives.
Davos
and all that jazz. The Great Reset is a secret plot by global elites to seize control over governments, wealth, and individual freedoms. That it is linked to the New World Order conspiracies of COVID-19, engineered, blah, blah, blah. That it will force people to give up property, you'll own nothing, or radically change diets or punitively limited freedoms, all that stuff. So basically, it's how the world is changing. And I would say it's not a Great Reset, it's a duality collapse.
Drink. Drink.
Yeah. So whether you believe that these WEF are doing this for everybody's benefit, or whether you believe global elites are trying to control the whole world and enslave everybody, you're right and you're wrong. But what was the Great Reset was COVID. I've seen, like, from my own belief, that we are entering a new level of consciousness, and that things are going to get weirder, and as the dualities collapse and things come closer, all the systems that we had in place before can't last anymore. They have to change. So how they manifest, how they become what they are, what people's intentions are, like what if the global elites, or whether it's like people having good intentions, as you would see, it doesn't really matter to me, because it's going to happen anyway. It's all a matter of what you project out is what you'll get back. That's the way I believe it is. So,
would you consider yourself a conspiracy theorist?
The ultimate, because I don't believe in anything, because nothing exists. You don't exist. I don't exist. Only thing that does exist is I am.
There you go.
So yeah. So I would say.
Okay, well let's just come back for a minute. Let's just, in this realm, right?
Right.
I wouldn't say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I love an old conspiracy.
Oh, there's nothing better. It's juicy. Everyone wants to be in the know. Everyone likes to. It's like gossip. You want to know something that other people don't know. You want to be the first to know. And also, people like being afraid. I just finished watching the Ed Gein
monster
thing, and how
he was bowled.
He was bowled, but we don't know how bowled. Strangely, he didn't get done for too many murders, but he was mostly digging up people and making skin suits and the like. But it showed how he inspired a lot of serial killers, and he was the first
Psycho
in Psycho. A lot of the films, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Silence of the Lambs, all these Michael Myers. But anyway, gossip in general, people like to know something first. They like to be in the know. People like to think that they have, because of course we don't know who we are, why we're here, what the meaning of life is, any of these things. So any opportunity the ego can get to grasp onto, now this is what it is. I actually know, like I finally in on the secret. Any chance the ego gets to grasp onto something like that, it'll take it.
Is that for safety?
It's for perceived safety, because there is no risk, because nothing that exists can be threatened, and nothing that doesn't exist can harm you. So in the big picture, we're all going to die. In the big picture, what happens in this world as we're here doesn't really matter. We can just try and make it as loving or as not loving as we can. I think what we're doing here is just we're just creating the colours of the individual flower, you know, where the tree will go on after these lives, after we've shed the next, every season, the tree will go on living. The tree continues without us. We're just the manifestations. We're just we're unique. Once, like, as we say, people say you only have one life, and people say, well, how can you believe in incarnation or reincarnation and you only have one life? Because I believe that the one life we're living now, there'll only ever be this one exact life. And like, consciousness has infinite lives, and we as consciousness are having those infinite lives, but who you are now will never happen again. It only happens in this moment.
So get up and enjoy yourself.
So get up and go up and love yourself. Love yourself first, and once you can love yourself, you can love others. I see a lot of people now struggling with as we talk about the Great Reset and all the stuff that's going on in the world. We talk about immigration, we talk about
digital IDs,
all these things. Like, according to the law one, the next level of consciousness is a fourth density. This is a level of consciousness in which we will be individuals still, but we will be joined together, like we will know each other's thoughts, feelings, emotions. We'll be a lot more connected.
Again, I fucking hate that.
I know you hate it because you're an ego and you want to fight. Your ego wants to fight against it because it believes itself to be. So you're thinking of it in a place like, people will judge my thoughts, but everyone will know that your thoughts are not your thoughts. They're just thoughts that you're observing at that
But
time.
do you not think that's happening in the world at the minute? So
it is. The internet is the start of that.
But like, well, definitely. So for anybody who hasn't gone back, go back and watch our episode it's called Ride On, with Andy Lee and the Irish Bull. We've gone from Catholic Ireland, where women were given out about condoms, to now Andy is out. Andy Lee is an Irish porn star. He does gay for pay. And we're at a point now where I think everybody loves him on the show. You know, he's gone out there, he's being real. He's like, this is what I do. I love money. I'm not going to hide it from you. I'm not going to hide anything from you. I'm me. And somebody said the other day, you know, does money make you happy? And he said, yeah, it does. And that's Andy's opinion. Yeah. Andy said, yes, money makes me happy. And that's Andy being Andy. And that's him being real for what he is. Yeah. And, you know, people are like, you know, there are some very different opinions, I think, on the show. And
depends what's your definition of happiness, because as Andy said to himself, he loves arguing in the comments and all. And I think if you were actually truly happy, you wouldn't really go into the comments and argue with people. You wouldn't be arguing with people because you'd be content in your own self. So he's happy. Like, money makes you happy, as in, like, you buy something you like and you're happy for a time. But again, it's like your new pair of runners. When you get a new pair of runners, nobody touched my runners, and then within a week you're walking through mud and you forget. Like, you know, it's like nothing that you can buy, like, money wise, will ever make you truly happy. It'll give you a lift, like.
No, but that's Andy's definition of happiness.
I know, yeah, and that's his definition. I know, but I'm just saying, like, that. It depends what you mean by happiness, like.
Oh no, of course. But the reason I was using the example is because, so Andy's on there now, right? There's many people from many different backgrounds, and I think the reason the Irish nation are kind of siding up to Andy a bit is because he's unapologetically himself.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas, like, some of those people are going on there, and okay, they might be a bit uptight, and maybe people don't agree with them being what they are but that's just them being them, you know, and the people around them love them and know them as that. Yeah. So coming across on television will be harder for something like that. Whereas someone that's just going to go in and be brash and say, listen, I love money. I do fucking porn. I do this. Like, a lot of people are going to be like, Jesus, you know, you're being real and open. The other person might be the same, but the other person just has walked a different path. So that's the path they're on. Yeah. Whereas, like, Andy is a big brash character, and I think now in the world, with the world changing, that's what people are gravitating towards. We're gravitating towards big characters.
Yeah, well, people are seeing all the preconceived notions of judging groups, people, industries, whatever you want to call it, are being shattered, because we're starting to see more and more people as human. So you'll see someone. It's the same with, you know, we're always talking about whatever issue it is. Once you start seeing someone on a human level, you start noticing that they're just the same as you. It's like, but there's obviously these things. I was thinking about it today. I have a lot of friends now who are like on the rabbit hole of, you know, Islam is coming to take over the West and, you know, turn us all into Sharia law and whatever else. And I think about it from their point of view. If you're looking at these videos every day and projecting fear out, that's what you're seeing. But for me, I'm seeing me 3-year-old son having a party with, like, people from all over the world. There's kids there from every religion, every colour, creed that you've ever seen. Everyone's getting on. We see them, we have chats at the school every morning. And that's the other side. Like that's where it's going to end up. So you can see the chaos with either ends of a political thing. It's like you think like, oh, it's going to change everything, and then it just becomes normal. It's the same as like people in the music industry now talking about AI coming in and like, no, it'll change everything. It'll be ruined forever. But like, if you showed Pink Pony Club to Sebastian Bach, he would say, no fucking way. But now it's the best song you can listen to. You know what I mean? Things change, people.
Beethoven would have loved it.
Beethoven would have loved it, yeah.
Because he was deaf.
He would have been sunflower of the West.
Beethoven used to have to put a pencil in his ear and put it on.
I know how he feels because I get deaf in this ear sometimes as well. So.
That's how Beethoven had to. He was so deaf. That's how he had to write his last symphony. So he would have just seen Pink Pony Club and be like, this is a spectacle.
Yeah, you just watch everyone just dancing in their heels in the Pink Pony Club. But yeah, so everything we always fear change and we're like, oh, fight against it. And you know, you can fight against everything, but there's no stopping change. Change is going to happen. What way it changes, none of us can know. But
is that not what everybody's doing? Is everybody not trying to influence the change?
Yeah, everybody's trying to influence it, and everybody will influence it in their own way. And I just think that my personal view of it is the more fear you put out there, the more fear you're going to get back in terms of the change. So I think the more you fight it, not fight, you know, like have your opinion, but you don't have to hate. Like you can have your opinion and still love. I find a lot of people that just get brought into the opinion of hate. Like there's no like, well there is, but online you see there's very little loving debates. You know what I mean? It's always like it always degenerates into people have their data or their talking points and they just reiterate them and there's no love and
I think it's getting to a stage where people are like even today we did a very quick live before we come on here, and I think didn't someone come on with something like political straight away or somebody brought
so when people put it into like I saw a fella on TikTok last week who made a whole video about Garen Noone and how he should be cancelled because he doesn't use his platform to speak up for Palestinians. And I was like, okay, it's very difficult for me to see how anybody would get to that point where they think that don't worry about what the Israelis are doing. Garen Noone, the comedian who likes talking about food, should be cancelled for not talking about Palestine. I don't think what. I mean,
chalk ices are getting smaller, but hold on a second. Hold on a second.
It's like it's mad. And I saw another thing actually. I saw this week. Our old pal Bill Burr. He did a comedy, there was a thing in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, and everybody's now criticising him because of the human rights abuses of Saudi Arabia and all, which there's no doubt that they've been involved in some horrific things according to our own rights and cultures. But as we talk about on the podcast, how are you going to soften and change those cultures? It's by bringing them together, not by isolating. Isolating people is how you get a North Korea.
It's a bit rich going after Bill Burr because I mean, why don't you go after every boxer on the planet?
Yeah, every boxer, or I mean, Bill Burr does talk a lot about billionaires and how they run the world, and also it's an easy one. But you bring people together by the more that as like when we see the immigration, people see mass immigration as they're trying to destroy our culture or not. But like it is the dualities collapsing as far as I can see it. So it's bound to happen. In fact there is no other. We're all the same thing, and we're like one body, and some of us are fighting our own selves.
In the Christmas special this year,
yeah,
I'm going to get a bottle of whiskey.
Right,
a good bottle of whiskey,
Irish whiskey,
a red breast. And I'm going to put it here, and every time you say the dualities are collapsing, we're going to do a long episode, and every time you do it, I'm going to drink, and I'm going to be gay-eyed by the end of the episode.
You might be, but you'll still...
The two of us will do it.
Do you know what you'll still be? What? Me. I am you, and you are me, my friend. Like I am you, and you are me. Oh, no, that's one of my own songs I haven't released yet.
Oh, there you look at this! Product placement.
Not plugging any of my own songs.
Product placement. Paid.
We'll be releasing some songs.
Branded
soon.
content. Paid partnership with Jim Wynne.
I will be plugging them on the podcast.
Jim Wynne Enterprises.
Apologies in advance for that.
Yeah. So the reason we don't give you ads is because they haven't offered us enough money. Shite money. There's no money in ads.
No, not enough yet. Anyway.
No. So
need the Manscaped or the BetterHelp.
No, don't even. We're bleeping that. they're getting nothing. Yeah, so everybody is like, this episode's brought to you by NordVPN. Fuck off.
Yeah. Another thing. I accept the cookies on everything all the time. So that's another thing I do. I don't use any VPNs or don't worry.
No, but it's not even that. It's just the reason that this is coming to you with no ads is because the money's just not there. We're having too much crack.
No. We're waiting for the great reset.
We're waiting for the great reset.
When we get the real money.
We're waiting for that Joe Rogan $115 million money.
Yeah. And what will we do with it? Nothing. We'll be the exact same, just with money.
If you give me 115 million, I'd start getting, I'd get Trump on.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like just guests. I'd start digging up guests. I'd go Ed Gein on guests. I'd have Marilyn Monroe on.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Now, we're not going to clip that, but if you do, that'll get us cancelled. 100%.
No, it won't. Ed Gein did it. Yeah. I watched the whole Ed Gein thing. It was very dramatized. It wasn't my favourite serial killer thing I've ever seen, but it was good.
As far as those serial killer things do go, the monster ones, like Jeffrey Dahmer, the Menendez brothers, and it was the worst of the three.
Yeah.
I thought Jeffrey Dahmer was the best.
I would agree.
I thought he was the best. And this lad came into my gig the other night, there was the image of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, some blondie hair fella, the wee moustache, and he had the square glasses. I was like, oh my God.
I heard my missus gave you a ruin. That was my ruin.
Give me stone back.
Give me stone back. Or that head will be in my kitchen giving winks out to witches.
The Ehwaz ruin. Which I still have. Fuck it, I'll tell you something. I'm not going to go too far into it with the old witchcraft or whatever, but the old football bets have been doing a lot better since that stone came into my life.
Yeah. They're
Liverpool haven't scored a 93rd minute winner since that stone came into my life.
That's true, yeah, that's true.
Since that stone came into my life, Liverpool have gone to
Arnie Slot's out there looking for an Ekwaz ruin as we speak. He got an Ekatike, he wanted an Ekwaz.
I'd 6 missed calls from Arnie Slot.
Philip, I need you. I'll give you my Ekatike, I'll take your Ekwaz. But yeah, the great reset. So I was just, we were thinking about things to do the podcast on today, and we just thought that was something that came into it's been something I see a lot of people arguing about. And as you can see, there's an official version and a conspiracy version, and, whatever you believe is the truth in your consciousness. But it all comes down to, in the end, are you choosing love or fear, I think. And you can have any view and choose love or fear. You can be anti-immigration or pro-immigration and do it out of love or fear. It's usually all of us are a mix of one or of both in some way. But when you can, I like to use the consciousness to project more love onto the world. And as you do that, like the world I see and interact with, not online, but the world I interact with on a daily basis is the great reset world. It's like a world where there's people of different cultures all coming together, and it's not all easy, wonderful all the time. There's disagreements. There's going to be chaos. There's going to be different things. As different cultures come together, there's going to be misunderstandings and fear and all that jazz. But at the end of the day, in 50, 100 years' time, it'll just be normal.
You have a Beldale Giggins story, do you?
I have a Beldale Giggins story. Well, duality's collapsing.
Drink.
You'll know, Philip. When you're gigging in the pub and there's a big group, there's always one or two really messy people.
Always.
Right? But I was gigging last week in a pub where there was a group of about 25 people, and I'd say 18 of them were unbelievably messy. Like I've never seen so many messy people in one group. I don't know what time they were there at. I started at 10 o'clock. They must have been there all day. There was one lad who was leaving the company that they were in, and they were all lads as well. There was all 25 people, all lads, and one girl. And the girl and the fella who was leaving were not messy. All the other lads. There was a fella who kept asking me to sing. He kept falling over sideways. He fell over. They were picking each other up and falling over. Some lad came up and asked me. Some lad came up and put €20 in the tip jar. Asked me to play Breakfast at Tiffany's. Started playing Breakfast at Tiffany's. Got to the third chorus. He came up while I was singing, tried to talk to me again, and I went, "What?" And he goes, "Will you play Breakfast at Tiffany's after this?" And he put another €20 in the tip jar. I'm literally playing Breakfast at Tiffany's as we speak.
In that situation, I would have went like this. I would have went, yeah. I would have went, wait. And then I would have went, and I said, what about right in front of him?
Yeah. Well, I was just like, I am playing it. Like I just kept the chords going, and I was just like, I am playing that though. And as people came up, the whole gig, these lads were coming up like at least 15 of them come up and asked me to play a song while I'm in the middle of singing a song, which I know when you're drunk you forget these things, but don't try and talk to someone while they're singing a song, folks. It doesn't work.
If you're in a pub and somebody's singing a song, don't do that, and don't go up and try and fist bump them.
Yeah, or shake their hand.
Or shake their hand when they're playing a guitar, because that stops the song.
Now, people do come up sometimes and they put up like...
On a phone.
Yep. Can you play that? And that's fair enough. But a lot of people do it like in their, like on a normal thing. And just go like this. And they're standing 20 feet away. Now, literally, folks, I'm getting old now. And I think I'm probably going to need glasses soon. I can't read a phone unless it's there, right in front of me. So, like, unless you're going to put it in huge writing, that's the way to do that. Get it in your notes and put it in big font.
But any old messing out of them?
There was lots of messing out of them. They were falling all over the place the whole gig. And then there was a group of girls came in, and there was one lad who came up and he was doing the worm and all. He kept trying to show off to all the girls. He wouldn't stop asking them to dance the whole time. There was another lad who was a big, huge lad, and the two lads were like swinging around the dance floor, and a couple of Americans were
always ends well.
A couple of Americans were like up, a little Asian girl and another little, compared to these lads, they were both very little, and they were up dancing, singing Brown Eyed Girl or something, I think it was, and they were up dancing together, having a moment. Like, next thing, one of these huge lads just went whoa-boom, knocked into the couple of them, and then of course that was them off the dance floor for the rest of the night.
Bowling balls.
That dance floor is for nobody but the lads, and they just had it. Like, they're all having the crack. Like, there was no. And then another lad was like, "Can I sing an Irish drinking song?" And I said, "Of course you can, go on." And he goes, "No, can I have the microphone?" And I went, not for all the tea in China, bro.
So funny enough, last night I did a gig last night, and where I was singing, there was a window behind me.
Right.
Do you know the gig? You know the venue?
Yeah.
There's a window right behind it. And there was a fella, so the pub's full in front of me, but your man is standing in the window behind me, doing all the actions. He's drunk, and he might have been homeless, but he was acting the bollocks. But he was drunk anyway, and he was doing all this, and then he started doing like all this, and he was just being really bold. So in the beginning, I was kind of laughing with him, and kind of was like, I don't want to turn around and tell him to fuck off, because then they'll be like, "Oh, you're fucking picking on your man at the window," and you know, some people are just waiting for you to do that. So I didn't do that, and I just left him, and I'm singing about 5 or 6 songs later, and there's just blue lights behind me. And I just looked back, and they were putting him in the back of a. So he obviously did something on the street. He obviously did something bad. Yeah.
Well, nobody ever got arrested for air guitar, Philip. He must have been doing something else.
He did something else.
He might have taken it. He might have taken the air wanking to the next level. But sure, 'tis part of the great reset. But we're going to see that. I was talking to my son the other day about like the new economy. Like, AI is coming to take all the jobs, and there's going to be no jobs. I saw in the budget that they're going to redo the university basic income for the arts thing. In September, there's going to be 2,000 more people selected for it, and I think it's something like, unless there's some other way to keep people employed, but I feel like we're coming in the next level of consciousness as we get into it. The new economy will be less about working and more about kind of building community values and building, like, you know, coming together as all these different races, cultures, and it's going to be more about that.
When are the dualities going to collapse again, so we can all go back drinking?
Pubs are spiting their own, like cutting off their nose to spite their own face, because they've seen like a drop off since COVID, and then they're putting prices up and up and up and up, and of course people's rents are going up and up and up, and fuel prices going up and up and up. So it's.
Do you think it's the pubs doing that, or do you think?
Well, it's not just the pubs. It's
because the overheads are mad. The heat of pub is fucking big money, especially in the winter.
It's everything. So that's what I mean. Like, we're getting to a point in this tradition economy, and it's not like a normal economy, because what we know as the economy now has been like that for 100 years maximum. And it changes. Like, before the Industrial Revolution, it was a completely different economy. Before computers, it was a completely different economy. And after AI, it's going to be a completely different economy. It's going to be run completely differently. I feel like this time it's going to be much less about human hours of work, like how many hours you put in. But things will become unsustainable, like having a pub where you have to keep putting prices up, keep putting the price of houses up. These things will it'll get to a point where it can't be sustained anymore. Now, what happens at that point, it depends on what we as a collective are we vibrating in love, or are we vibrating in fear? Because it could get very chaotic if we're vibrating in fear. And what I feel like it like for some people it'll be a lot easier a transition than other people, but it's all for our own benefit to wake us up to the, like, when people say you'll own nothing and be happy, like, I would already be happy owning nothing. I was looking up today, like, there's no, in most indigenous cultures, there's no word for possession, like, I own this, or I own this land, or, I mean, why do you need to own anything? Because you're going to die. The land will still be there. You can say my family will get it, but they're going to die. Like, and you can say they'll sell it and someone else will own it, but they're going to die. I mean, you can't, owning something is attaching, because you're literally attaching yourself to something. So I can see an economy where we don't own things, where there's a robot taxi comes up and collects you and brings you around. And another thing I saw about AI is it'll come in and it'll make food production and building and stuff so easy that it won't be a barrier. It'll become much more sustainable, because it'll be much cheaper to do all the things that we need to live. Now, when it comes to what people want, what people need, like for their discretionary expenditure, like drinking or buying fancy stuff, I don't know how that's going to work. But I feel like the more the consciousness lifts into the higher vibrations, the less people will care about fancy stuff. And I know if you're thinking there, oh, I'm not giving up all my whatever you're holding on to, that's fair enough. And nobody's going to force anybody to do it. And I don't think, like, a lot of people are worried that, like, there's going to be soldiers coming in and taking your house and doing all these things. And that's the fear-based reality. And that, like, if enough people fear that something like that happen, it probably will happen. But from my viewpoint, I believe that it's just an evolution. It's just another season. And it will be as it is.
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
And that will be the Great Reset.
Well, the Great Reset is only is just a name for something. I mean, it's a constant evolution. As we know, we're evolving as species. I believe we're evolving as spirit. We're evolving as consciousness, and we are literally all the same thing. And there's no danger to us ever being, like, these lives will end, and then we'll remember who we really are. This is just the role we're playing now, and we can make it a tragedy, we can make it a comedy, we can make it a bit of both, we can make it an interesting Ed Gein job if we want. But, you know, some people like that.
Yep.
And they deserve love too. Doesn't mean we have to let them go around killing people and making skin suits, but we can find them, treat them, love them, see if we can bring them into the light, and then maybe they won't want to do such things.
Beautiful.
So let us know what you think of the Great Reset. Do you think it's a global conspiracy that's coming to take over our minds, souls, or do you believe that it's just part of the consciousness evolving as it is? And either way, you're right, and either way, you're wrong, and either way, we love you. That's it for episode 56 of the Temple Bard podcast with me, Jim Wynne, and Philip Noone. Stay bold, sláinte.